I'm terrified of you. This is my first YouTube video. For my first YouTube video, which is very hard for me to film, by the way. I've even got my emotional support teddy bear with me. I was supposed to do this alone. But for my first YouTube video, I decided I will talk about the very thing that has stopped me from doing this for so long. Right now, in the big 2026, I finally put my foot down and I decided, you know what? There's two ways this can go. I'm gonna have big fat dreams and I'm gonna sit in my room and do nothing, and all I ever do is just sit and dream and think so highly of myself and think, well, I could have been this. Like, that's option number one. And option number two is get out there, as scary as it is. Even embarrass yourself a little. Because yes, it is embarrassing. Like, I'm posting to like 0 subscribers, 0 views. I don't know if anyone's gonna watch this, but at least I'm taking a chance. Because they say what was the saying? You take 100 shots. Something. No. You miss. Oh yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Anyways, so I wanted to talk about the two final bosses I defeated in order to post this first video. Final boss number one: the fear of being perceived. I don't know if you've heard this term on TikTok, but it's officially defined as the intense, distressing feeling that accompanies being seen, observed, or noticed by others. It's linked to social anxiety. So, chances are you also have social anxiety. But I personally think that you probably also don't need to have social anxiety, because maybe you're like super confident in person, but being perceived on the internet is what terrifies you, because you can't. The thing about the internet, right? You can't control the comments. You don't know who's watching you. And the internet makes people very ballsy. Keyboard warriors. They'll say it to you on the internet because they can hide behind a screen, but they won't say it to you in person because they're actually cowards. That's the thing about the internet. It's terrifying. And also another thing, I don't know why. Like, it's so difficult to be cringe, to be seen as cringe. But everyone, literally everyone, from like the biggest, like Mr. Beast, like, have you seen his first videos? You have to be okay with being cringe. When I'm saying this, I'm talking to myself as well. It's kind of like a one-on-one therapy session with myself. I had to convince myself that it's okay. Like, you can't just sit here and be like, oh well, I'm gonna be so big one day and I'm gonna blah blah blah. And you think so much about what other people think of you, when in reality you're probably just a background character in their lives. And if they actually do think of you as much as you think they think of you, then that's on them. Like, that's so weird. I'm definitely gonna ramble a lot, rant a lot, not much cohesion and not much structure in what I say, but I hope you get my point. If you're someone who is struggling with posting yourself online, starting that content, or maybe you don't even want to do any of this, but it's like starting something, you're struggling with starting something in your life, you might be able to relate to what I'm saying. Sometimes, like, it's so weird. Like, I think about, oh my god, what if people from high school find this? What if people from uni find this? And it's just, do I really want to live my life being so afraid of what people think of me? And maybe I'm just like, dramatizing it in my head and making it a much bigger deal. Because in my head I'm like, oh my god, what if they come across the content I'm posting and they go like, oh my god, she's posting content now, that's so weird, that's so cringe. But in reality they're probably like, oh, that's cool, I remember her. And even if they are like, oh my god, that's so cringe, do you really care what people like that think? I thought about it and I'm like, if someone actually thinks of me like that, that's weird on them. And then aside from like old high school people, I'm also scared of the people that are close to me, like my family, the people that know me, like my close friends. If they find my content, like, like I have this like image. It's, I don't want to be cringe. I don't want to be cringe. But to be cringe is to be free. Everyone has to start somewhere. I know where I want to go, and not only that, I know my potential. I'm letting everything else hold me back because I'm just so scared. And I ain't gonna lie to you, like, I'm not 100% over it. I'm still a bit like, oh my god, I'm so like terrified if someone comes across this and they know me. What are they gonna think? I want to include this because I think it's quite interesting. This is from an evolutionary standpoint. Evolutionary psychologists believe the fear of being perceived is a survival mechanism. In the wild, being noticed by others was a matter of life or death. If you're closely watched and evaluated by your tribe, any sign of weakness, disease, or nonconformity could lead to being cast out. So that's why evolved species we developed a ability to sense if we're being watched. And that's why I feel like sometimes you can tell if someone's watching you from the corner of your eye because we've evolved that way. So being watched and being perceived is scary for us. Another interesting fact. Research published via the National Institute of Health notes that social rejection activates the same neural pathways in the brain as physical pain. So the terror of being perceived is fundamentally the brain trying to protect you from the fatal consequence of social exile. And there's definitely like other scientific explanations. There's neurobiological explanations, cognitive behavioral, and even genetic explanations with their own research and terms. So you can look that up if you're interested. Anyways, let's talk about final boss number 2. That's analysis paralysis. You've probably also heard this on TikTok, and if you haven't, the official definition is the state of overthinking a situation or decision to the point that a choice or action is never made, effectively causing a state of mental paralysis. So, this concept was around for a while, but this dude called Igor Ansov popularized it. He's known as the father of strategic management. He was talking about business. He used it to explain how companies spend so much time researching, analyzing data, and planning for every single variable that they completely missed their window to launch the product. And then in the 1970s, it shifted from a business strategy warning to a psychological term for individual overthinking. You overanalyze every single thing. You decide, okay, I'm gonna make this video, and then you write a whole script for it, and then you tweak that script a million times, and then you have one idea, but then you decide that, okay, well, maybe this idea isn't good enough, and then you overthink, and you're like, maybe these 50 other ideas are better, and then you're just like planning and planning and planning, and you probably write everything down. That's the problem I have. And I came up with a million and one reasons. I came up with a million and one excuses as to why I have to push it further away. Starting my YouTube channel. I've wanted to do this since I was 15 and I'm 23 now. It's been forever. I've wanted to start this since before COVID. And I finally put my foot down now. I came up with a million and one reasons. I was like, I have to get a mic first. Got my mic. I have to get a better phone. Okay, I got a better phone. And then I have to I need to get better makeup. Okay, I got better makeup. And then I kid you not, my last reason was I need to lose weight, and then I can. My last reason was actually I need to lose weight, and then I can. But then I was like, what is wrong with you? And then I clocked it, like, this is insane. I can't keep doing this. This is ridiculous. Paradox of choice. Psychologist Barry Schwartz said that if you have more options, it doesn't actually make you happier. It confuses you more and it stresses you out more. You have one idea for a YouTube video, you're like, okay, you film that YouTube video. If you have 50 ideas, you're like scrambling and you're like, oh my god, it doesn't help you out, it just makes you feel worse. Another explanation is perfectionism. A perfectionist leader believes no decision should be made until it's guaranteed to be right. They set an impossibly high bar. Every piece of information must be gathered, every analysis double checked, every scenario mapped out. Inevitably, this leads to paralysis. And I've had such a bad case of
I have a bad case of diarrhea. I have a bad case of diarrhea.
I've had such a bad case of perfectionism all my life. even when doing my assignments, no matter what I do, it has to be perfect. Whatever I put out has to be perfect. And posting this video is kind of scary because I told myself, I was like, no, what, I can't post it yet. I have to perfect my editing skills first. My editing skills aren't that great. The lighting's not that great. My hair is kind of a mess. And it's like really scary posting this because it's not perfect as I want it to be. But it's the only way you're gonna get out of the rut. I could sit here and I could, do extensive research and like come up with more like scientific explanations as to how you can overcome them, but it's gonna be a lie because none of that shit worked for me. But I will tell you what actually worked for me, and let me tell you why I'm even posting this video in the first place. The thing that stopped me from posting any of this, which I explained the first thing I said in the video, is fear. Fear stopped me from posting for years and years and years because I was so scared. But do you know what finally pushed me to post this video? It was fear, which is so ironic, but let me explain. I thought back to my 15-year-old self. Imagine if I actually took this stuff seriously and I didn't let any of these final bosses affect me and I just posted. Where would I have been now? And obviously it hurts. It hurts a lot to think about that. It hurts a lot to think about all the time you've wasted. But just sitting here and basking in my own misery is not going to help. It's just going to make things worse. But then I thought to myself, now imagine I'm 30 and I'm in the same exact position. That is so much more terrifying than what anyone thinks of me. That is so much more terrifying than what stopped me from posting all these years. If you're going through the same thing as me, and if you're scared to be perceived as weird, because I'm sure I come across as super weird posting this right now because none of this is like as articulate as I want it to be. None of this is like cohesive and doesn't really go according to my plan because I made a whole script and I was like, oh, it's gonna go this way and I'm gonna talk about it this way, blah blah blah, and it's not really worked out, but I have to do this. I have to do this for myself. If you're going through the same thing as me, and if you're struggling to post that first video, or you're struggling to stay consistent and keep posting your videos because these things are affecting you, the fear of being perceived and analysis paralysis, then just ask yourself 10 years from now, how would you feel if you kept going the way you are? How much would that hurt you? That's my deep talk for the day. If you like this video, if it gave you any value, if you felt, hey, maybe her editing isn't that bad, please like, comment, subscribe.